In a land scarred by betrayal and war, Sir Kalin wandered as a mercenary, haunted by the shame of treason. Once a noble knight, he now felt lost and alone. One fateful day, a mysterious old woman appeared, claiming he was destined to wield the legendary Blade of Amara. This revelation filled Kalin with both hope and fear, as he faced the heavy burden of his past. His journey for redemption was just beginning, and the choices he would make would change his fate forever. In a village reduced to ruins, the air was thick with despair. Once vibrant homes now stood as hollow shells, their walls crumbling under the weight of neglect. Among the debris wandered Sir Kalin, a knight who had once worn his armor with pride. Now he moved like a shadow, a mercenary lost in a world that had turned its back on him. Each step stirred memories of laughter and betrayal, echoes of a life that felt like a distant dream. Kalin paused beside a broken statue, its head tilted in sorrow. "How did it come to this?" he whispered, his voice barely rising above the whispering wind. The villagers had once hailed him as a hero, a protector of the realm, but now the label of traitor hung over him like a dark cloud. The day he was accused felt like yesterday, the sting of betrayal still fresh in his mind. He remembered the faces of those he had trusted, now twisted with doubt. Was it truly treason or just a cruel trick? He mused, grappling with the weight of his dishonor. As he wandered, lost in thought, an unexpected figure emerged from the shadows. A mysterious old woman, her hair wild and white like a storm. She moved with an air of knowing, her eyes glinting with secrets. "Sir Kalin," she called out, her voice strong despite her frail appearance. He turned, startled. "You seek redemption, do you not?" Kalin narrowed his eyes, suspicion rising within him. "Who are you to speak of redemption? You know nothing of my past." "I know more than you think," she replied, stepping closer. "I am here to tell you that you are the chosen one. You are destined to wield the Blade of Amara." The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Kalin's heart raced, a mix of hope and dread flooding through him. "The Blade of Amara?" he echoed, trying to grasp the weight of her claim. "What do you know of it?" "It is just a myth, a story told to children." The old woman shook her head. "It is no mere myth. The blade holds great power, and it is your birthright. But wielding it comes with a price." "Why me?" he questioned, his voice trembling. "I am no longer the knight I once was. I am a fallen man, marked by dishonor." "Precisely," she replied, her gaze piercing through his defenses. "Only one who has fallen can truly understand the strength it takes to rise again. But be warned, Sir Kalin, accepting this destiny means facing the secrets of your past." Kalin felt his stomach twist at her words. Could he bear to confront what had led him to this point? The thought of unearthing old wounds filled him with fear. "What secrets?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The old woman smiled knowingly. "That is for you to discover. The blade will reveal more than just its power. It will reveal you." With that, she turned and began to walk away, leaving Kalin alone with his thoughts. The village around him felt even more desolate, as if it shared in his turmoil. He stood there, grappling with the implications of her words. The chance for redemption danced before him like a flickering flame, but shadows of doubt clouded his mind. What if accepting this path led him to more pain? He clenched his fists, determination battling against fear. "I cannot remain a mercenary forever," he muttered to himself. "But am I ready to face the truth?" As the sun began to set, casting an orange glow over the ruins, Kalin took a deep breath. The air was thick with possibility. The old woman had awakened something within him, a spark of hope intertwined with the fear of his past. He was a knight, after all. Somewhere within the depths of his soul, the desire to rise again flickered, waiting for the right moment to ignite. Would he dare to embrace his destiny? Would he wield the Blade of Amara, or would he continue to wander as a ghost of his former self? The answers lay ahead, shrouded in uncertainty. But one thing was clear. The journey had only just begun. As Kalen wandered through the remnants of the village, shadows of his past danced in his mind. Memories flooded his thoughts, vibrant images of laughter and warmth that felt so distant now. He closed his eyes, and the world around him faded away, replaced by a sunlit training ground where he had once stood with Lady Alawan. Again, Kalen, focus! Alawan's voice rang out, light and melodic, as she expertly wielded her sword. Her auburn hair glinted in the sunlight, and her eyes sparkled with determination. "I am focused!" Kalen protested, trying to hide the smile that threatened to break across his face. He was still a novice compared to her, and the way she moved was graceful and powerful. "Then show me," she laughed, her laughter filling his heart with joy. He lunged, but she sidestepped him easily, her movements fluid. In that moment, he felt invincible, as if nothing could ever tear them apart. But as the memory slipped away, the weight of his current reality crashed back down on him. The laughter faded into silence, replaced by the heavy burden of betrayal. He sighed, his heart aching with the loss of those days. Suddenly, the old woman's voice broke through his reverie. "The blade of Amara is tied to your bloodline, Kalen. It is not just a weapon, it is a key to your past." Kalen turned to her, confusion etched across his face. "What do you mean? My past is filled with shame and regret. How can a blade change that?" "The blade holds the essence of your ancestors, their honor and their mistakes," she replied cryptically. "To wield it, you must first confront the choices that led you to this dark place." Kalen clenched his fists, feeling a storm of emotions brewing inside him. "You speak of choices as if they are easy to bear. I have suffered because of them." "Indeed you have," the old woman nodded, her gaze piercing into his soul. "But suffering can also lead to growth. The blade will not accept a heart burdened by fear. It seeks a knight who embraces his truth." Kalen's mind whirled. He felt drawn to the idea of redemption, yet the thought of revisiting his past filled him with dread. What if I am not worthy? What if I fail again? Failure is part of the journey. It is how you rise that defines you. Her voice softened, almost comforting. "You must face Lady Alawan, for she is part of your truth." The mention of her name sent a wave of warmth and pain through him. Alawan had been his anchor, the light in his life, yet he had allowed darkness to separate them. "I cannot face her. I have lost everything." "Not yet," she whispered, almost as if she could see the flicker of hope within him. "Your journey is not over. Take the first step, Kalen. Embrace the echoes of your past." The memories surged again, and this time, he did not resist. Images of Alawan training by his side, of shared dreams and whispered promises, filled his mind. He longed for those moments, for the laughter that once echoed between them. Suddenly, a thought struck him. If I accept this destiny, will I have to confront Sir Thorian? He was the one who accused me. The old woman nodded solemnly. Yes, but remember, Kalen, confronting him is not just about revenge. It is about understanding who you are and what you stand for. I don't know if I can do that, Kalen admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. You can, she insisted, her eyes shining with conviction. The blade of Amara will find its rightful wielder. But first, you must find yourself. Only then can you reclaim what was lost. With a heavy heart, Kalen took a deep breath. The journey ahead would not be easy, but perhaps it was time to face the echoes of his past. Perhaps it was time to seek the redemption that had eluded him for so long. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue across the ruined village, Kalen felt a flicker of determination ignite within him. He would not shy away from his past any longer. With the old woman's words resonating in his heart, he set forth into the unknown, ready to confront the choices that had shaped his life and to reclaim the honor that was rightfully his. As Kalen moved forward on his quest to reclaim the Blade of Amara, the weight of his past pressed heavily on his shoulders. Each step he took echoed with memories of former glories and painful losses. He found himself in a familiar clearing, a place where he and Elowen had shared laughter and dreams. But today, it felt different. It was charged with the tension of unresolved feelings. Suddenly, he heard a soft voice call out to him, "Kalen?" It was Lady Elowen, stepping out from behind a cluster of trees. Her presence was like a light piercing through his darkness, yet it also stirred a storm of emotions within him. "Elowen," he replied, struggling to mask his surprise. "I did not expect to see you here." Her eyes searched his face, filled with a mix of warmth and concern. "You are on a dangerous path. I heard about your quest for the blade. You must be careful." Kalen rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the tension build. "I have to reclaim my honor. I have to prove myself." Elowen stepped closer, her expression serious. "But at what cost, Kalen? You cannot simply fight your way back to redemption. You need to confront your past." He looked away, unable to meet her gaze. "I know my mistakes, Elowen, but I cannot change what happened. All I can do is fight." Her voice softened, but it carried an edge of urgency. "Fighting isn't the only option. You need to forgive yourself first. Only then can you truly move forward." Kalen clenched his fists, frustration bubbling inside him. "Forgiveness? How can I forgive when I lost everything? My honor, my friends, you." "Your honor is not gone, Kalen. It's buried beneath your pain. You have to dig it out," she insisted, her eyes shining with determination. Before he could respond, the air shifted. A rustling sound interrupted their conversation, and Kalen instinctively drew his sword. Elowen stepped back, her eyes wide. "What is it?" "Mercenaries," Kalen said, his voice low and tense. "They are here for me." Without warning, several men emerged from the trees, clad in dark armor, their faces hidden behind menacing masks. The leader stepped forward, a sneer on his lips. "Kalen, the traitor. Sir Thorian sends his regards." Kalen felt a surge of anger. "I am no traitor. You have it wrong." The mercenary laughed. "Your own people turned against you. You think you can just walk back into their lives? You're a fool." Elowen moved to stand by Kalen, her own sword drawn. "We will not let you harm him." "Brave, but foolish," the leader taunted. "You cannot protect him from what he deserves." With a battle cry, the mercenaries charged. Kalen and Elowen fought side by side, their movements fluid and instinctive. Kalen felt a spark of hope as they defended against the attackers, the familiar rhythm of battle igniting a fire within him. Each strike he made felt like a step toward reclaiming not just the blade, but his own spirit. "Keep moving!" Elowen shouted, parrying an attack aimed at Kalen. "We can't let them surround us." "I know," he replied, his heart racing as he faced his enemies. He felt alive, but the thought of Elowen getting hurt made him fight with even more intensity. As the battle raged on, Kalen began to see the mercenaries not just as enemies, but as symbols of his past mistakes. Each blow he struck was a chance to redeem himself, a step toward the man he wanted to be. But as the last of the mercenaries fell, he felt a heaviness settle in his chest. Breathing heavily, Kalen turned to Elowen. "I fought for my honor, but I still feel lost. I don't know if I can do this." Elowen sheathed her sword and placed a reassuring hand on his arm. "You are stronger than you think, Kalen. The blade is not just a weapon. It is a part of you. It will guide you if you let it." He nodded, feeling the weight of her words. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the clearing, Kalen understood that the journey ahead would not be just about reclaiming the blade. It would be about healing, forgiveness, and accepting the man he had become. With Elowen by his side, he felt the first stirrings of hope for the future. As Kaelin wandered deeper into the forest, a heavy fog hung in the air. Each step felt like a weight pulling him down. He could not shake the new truth that had come to light. His disgrace was not an accident. Sir Thorian, his former friend turned bitter rival, had orchestrated it all. The thought made his blood boil. Why would he do this? Kaelin muttered to himself, his voice barely rising above the rustle of leaves. He remembered the times they fought side by side, the laughter they shared, and the loyalty they had sworn to each other. Now, it all felt like a cruel joke. Suddenly, a voice interrupted his thoughts. "You are lost in your mind, Kaelin." It was Elowen, stepping from the shadows. Her presence was like a beacon of light, even in the darkness of his turmoil. "What troubles you?" Kaelin turned to face her, his heart a mix of emotions. "It was Thorian. He is the one who betrayed me. He wanted power, and he used me to get it," he confessed, his voice strained. Elowen's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and sadness. "I always knew he had ambition, but I never thought he would sink so low. You must confront him, Kaelin. You must reclaim your honor." A fire ignited within him. I will make him pay for what he has done, not just to me, but to Eldoria. This is personal now." His hands clenched into fists, determination coursing through him. "Be careful," Elowen warned gently. "Vengeance can consume you. You must not forget who you are. The knight I once knew fought for justice, not revenge." Kaelin paused, her words echoing in his mind. "But how can I forgive him after everything he has done? How can I let go of this anger?" Elowen stepped closer, her voice softening. "Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from the burden of hatred. You must find a way to heal, Kaelin. Otherwise, you risk becoming the very thing you despise." As her words settled in his heart, Kaelin felt the weight of his choices pressing down on him. He understood that while Thorian had wronged him, holding on to hatred would only lead him further into darkness. "What if I fail to forgive him?" he asked, vulnerability creeping into his voice. "Then you will carry that burden forever," she replied, her gaze steady. "Choose to forgive, not for him, but for yourself. True strength lies in understanding and compassion." Kaelin nodded slowly, the inner conflict raging within him. He could feel the anger still simmering, but Elowen's words began to chip away at the cold walls he had built around his heart. "I will try," he said finally, a hint of resolve in his tone. "I will confront him, but I will not let hatred guide my hand." "Good," Elowen smiled, her expression warm. "And remember, you are not alone in this. I will stand by your side, no matter the outcome." With renewed purpose, Kaelin set his sights on the path ahead. He knew the confrontation with Thorian would not just be a battle of swords, it would be a reckoning of hearts. As they walked together, the air was filled with an unspoken bond that strengthened their resolve. They reached the edge of the forest, where the shadows began to thin. Kaelin felt the weight of destiny on his shoulders, but he also felt a flicker of hope. "I will reclaim my honor," he vowed, "not just for myself, but for Eldoria. I will protect its people from Thorian's greed." Elowen squeezed his hand, her support unwavering. "And I will be there with you, every step of the way." As they prepared to face the challenges ahead, Kaelin understood that his journey was not just about vengeance. It was about healing, understanding, and ultimately finding the strength to forgive. The past may have shaped him, but it would not define the man he was to become. With Elowen at his side, he took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Kaelin stood at the edge of the forest, his heart pounding as he prepared for the final confrontation with Sir Thorian. The air was thick with tension, and the sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the ground. Around him, his allies gathered, each face a mix of determination and fear. They believed in him, and that belief filled him with both strength and doubt. "Are you ready, Kaelin?" asked Sir Roderick, a broad-shouldered knight with a fierce look in his eyes. He had been with Kaelin since the beginning of this journey, sharing in the trials and the triumphs. "This is it. We fight for your honor and for Eldoria." Kaelin nodded, but felt a knot in his stomach. "I am ready, Roderick, but I fear what I may have to do." His voice wavered slightly. "Thorian will not back down. He wants power above all else." "Then we must show him that true power lies in honor and courage," Roderick replied, his voice steady. "You have the blade of Amara. It is not just a weapon, it is a symbol of hope." Taking a deep breath, Kaelin unsheathed the blade, its light glinting in the fading sun. The weapon felt heavy in his hands, not just because of its weight, but because of what it represented. The memories of his past, the laughter, the betrayal, the love, swirled in his mind. He could almost hear Lady Elowen's voice urging him on. "Remember who you are, Kaelin. You are not just a knight, you are a protector," she had said to him in a dream, her face radiant with hope. Her words echoed in his heart as he faced the path ahead. As they marched toward the clearing where they would confront Thorian, Kaelin's thoughts drifted to the man who had caused him so much pain. Sir Thorian had been more than a rival. He had been a friend once, but betrayal had twisted that bond into something dark and dangerous. When they reached the clearing, the scene was set for battle. Thorian stood at the center, flanked by his mercenaries, a smirk on his face as he spotted Kaelin and his allies. "Look who we have here," he called out, his voice dripping with mockery. "The fallen knight returns to reclaim his honor, but you will find that honor is a luxury you can no longer afford." Kaelin stepped forward, gripping the blade tightly. "This ends today, Thorian. No more lies, no more betrayal. I will not let you destroy Eldoria for your greed." Thorian laughed, a cruel sound that echoed through the clearing. "You think you can defeat me with noble words? You are a fool, Kaelin. Power is all that matters, and I will have it." The battle erupted, swords clashing and shouts filling the air. Kaelin fought with all his might, each strike fueled by the memories of his past, the laughter with Elowen, the camaraderie with his fellow knights, the pain of his fall. Each swing of the blade felt like a step toward redemption. But as he faced Thorian, a moment of stillness settled between them. Kaelin saw the hatred in Thorian's eyes, but he also saw fear. This was not just a fight for honor. It was a fight for the soul of a man who once had potential for greatness. In that moment, as swords met and sparks flew, Kaelin found himself at a crossroads. He had the chance to strike Thorian down, to end the threat once and for all. But as he raised the blade, he hesitated. Could he really take a life in cold blood? Was vengeance the path he truly wanted? "Kaelin!" Roderick shouted, his voice breaking through the chaos. "Finish it!" Kaelin's heart raced. He looked into Thorian's eyes, searching for the man he once knew. "I will not kill you, Thorian. You do not deserve to die, but you must face the consequences of your actions. I choose mercy." With that, Kaelin lowered the blade, his decision echoing through the clearing. The mercenaries paused, confusion spreading among them. Thorian's face twisted in disbelief. "You think you can show me mercy? You are weak." "Perhaps," Kaelin replied, his voice steady. "But I will not let my past define me. I will not become what you are." As the dust settled, Kaelin realized that this moment was more than just a victory over Thorian. It was a testament to his growth, a step toward healing. He had chosen to rise above vengeance, embracing the true meaning of honor. And in doing so, he had reclaimed a piece of himself he thought he had lost forever. With the dust of battle settling around him, Sir Kaelin stood over the fallen form of Sir Thorian. The weight of victory was heavy on his shoulders, yet it felt different from what he had imagined. He gazed down at the blade of Amara, now firmly in his grasp. its shimmering surface reflecting the light of the new dawn. Kalen took a deep breath, feeling the cool morning air fill his lungs. He had defeated his rival, but the fight had changed him. It was not just about reclaiming his honor. It was about understanding who he truly was. "I did it," he murmured to himself, his voice barely above a whisper. "Kalen!" A familiar voice called out, breaking through the fog of his thoughts. He turned to see Lady Elowen rushing toward him, her face a mix of relief and concern. "Are you hurt?" she asked, her eyes scanning him for any signs of injury. He shook his head, a small smile creeping onto his face. "No, I am well, thanks to you." Elowen's expression softened. "I feared for you in that battle. I feared for our future." Kalen stepped closer, feeling the warmth of her presence. "Our future," he repeated, the words carrying a weight he had not felt before. "I have come to understand that my journey is not just my own. It is ours." She looked up at him, her eyes shining with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. "What do you mean?" "The blade of Amara is not just a weapon," he explained, holding it up for her to see. "It represents my past, my family, and the honor I lost. But it also symbolizes what I can become. I want to protect Eldoria, not just for myself, but for you and everyone who has suffered." Elowen stepped back, her expression thoughtful. "You have changed, Kalen. You are not the man who left this village. You carry the spirit of a true knight now." He nodded, feeling the truth of her words resonate within him. "I want to be worthy of that title. I want to fight not just with a blade, but with love and honor." Just then, a group of villagers, emboldened by the news of Thorian's defeat, began to gather around them. They looked at Kalen with a mix of admiration and gratitude. An old man stepped forward, his voice trembling with emotion. "You have given us hope, Sir Kalen. With Thorian gone, we can begin to rebuild our lives." Kalen felt a surge of responsibility wash over him. "I will stand with you. Together, we can restore Eldoria to its former glory." One of the villagers, a young woman, chimed in, "But how will we protect ourselves from those who might come for us again?" Kalen's gaze hardened as he looked at the crowd. "I will train you. We cannot rely solely on the past to protect our future. We must be strong together." Elowen stepped beside him, her voice steady. "And I will help. We will not only defend our home, we will inspire others to rise and fight for what is right." The villagers exchanged glances, a spark of hope igniting among them. "Yes," they exclaimed in unison, their voices ringing with newfound determination. Kalen felt a swell of pride as he looked at Elowen and then at the villagers. This is just the beginning. With unity and courage, we will forge a new path for Eldoria. As the sun began to rise higher in the sky, casting a golden glow over the land, Kalen realized that he had embraced his past. He had faced his demons and emerged stronger, not just as a knight, but as a protector of his people. "Let the dawn of this new day remind us of our strength," he declared, raising the blade of Amara high. "Together, we will fight for justice and honor." The villagers erupted into cheers, their voices echoing into the horizon. And in that moment, Kalen knew he was not alone. He had found his purpose, and with Elowen by his side, he was ready to lead Eldoria into a brighter future. Share this story if you believe that unity and courage can rebuild even the most shattered communities. Leave a comment about a time when you stood up for what is right and inspired others to do the same. Subscribe for more exciting tales of bravery and hope like this one.